Gold was first discovered in Diamond Creek in 1863. The Diamond Creek mine was opened some years after gold was first discovered and dug 700 feet vertical and 300 feet underlay. On Wednesday, the 20th of January 1915, the wind blew hot and from the north, so when at 3 o'clock a spark from the boiler room escaped and was blown into the wood heap that was close by. It started a fire that quickly became a raging blaze that rapidly spread into the engine house, up the poppet head and down the shaft, lighting the timbers. It was very quickly out of control. There were men working in the main shaft at the 900-foot level. A telephone message warned them that the mine was on fire. The poppet head burned rapidly and the damage quickly blocked access into and out of the shaft. A report in the Herald a week later noted, "One of the heroes of the fire was Mr. George Stevens, the engine driver, who stood by his engine and saved the life of the blacksmith, though he was almost enveloped by the smoke from the burning truck of wood in the engine house, and flames shot up in all directions. When the truck burst into flames, he attempted to reach the injector to flood the fire, but a knock warned him that there was a man in the ascending cage. Despite the smoke and flames, he clung to the engine and raised the cage to the top, thus rescuing Frank Armstrong, the blacksmith. As the man stepped out of danger, one of the Oregon timber poppet legs gave way and the structure collapsed. 3 hours after the fire had started, the fire engine arrived and a great effort was made to get it up the hill to the mine itself. The track was difficult to navigate and the van was heavy and cumbersome. The men down the shaft couldn't use the ladders or the cages, and access upwards was blocked by falling debris, so they were forced to climb for about 400 feet by disused ladders to reach the surface and safety. For 2 hours they worked their way through the darkness until they reached the open air, only to see the machinery on which they had staked their savings, a mass of scrap iron, and the shafts glowing like the maw of a furnace. News of the fire travelled quickly, with smoke rolling thickly from the hilltop. Anxious wives rushed to the mine. Eyewitness accounts tell of wives and children waiting near the mouth of the escape shaft until dusk when the last miners emerged. All men made it out of the shafts safely and emerged to scenes of welcome. No lives were lost. The fire destroyed the entire above-ground plant except for the change rooms and the manager's office, which stood apart from the other buildings, with the damage estimated to be about £3,000. In the end, they ended up owing £500 in wages. Anyway, that's how we ended up with Diamond Creek Mines.
Basically, this place kind of looks like Jurassic Park right now. Was where the Cave Clan started. So if you don't know the Cave Clan, go jump online, check them out. They're like the original Melbourne urban explorers, and they started in this cave. And there is some cool Cave Clan graffiti in there.
Alright, now this is the really cool part of this place. Man, we have way better lighting than last time. You have a look right here. You see the Cave Clan graffiti. Now this is the place that I know of that the Cave Clan actually started. So this was their, their little starting point, their little meeting up point. If there is anyone from the Cave Clan who's watching this, the original members, drop us a comment because I really want to hear about it. I know you can watch some Cave Clan documentaries on YouTube, but this was one of their starting points. I believe it is the starting point. Let's get closer and have a look. You might see some names on there, but that is so cool.
That's the Cave Clan logo.
That's the Cave Clan.
1987.
It all started when Woody and SLoTH invited me to their sister's place in Diamond Creek over Australia Day long weekend. I've got SLoTH here to tell the story.
Yeah, so I grew up in Diamond Creek and lived there all throughout the 70s, and my sister has always lived in the area. So we were house sitting my sister's place in Diamond Creek in Australia Day 1986, Australia Day weekend. And we knew about the mines because it was just local knowledge really. We'd kind of never done them, but kind of knew about them and where they were and stuff. So someone suggested, oh, let's go check out those old gold mines in Diamond Creek along the rail line there. But yeah, we we ventured out there to the gold mines. We spent probably most of the day exploring those gold mines. They weren't as dangerous then as they are now. Now they're probably pretty lethal. You wouldn't go in them, but back then, and we were a bit stupider back then, so we went in pretty far. We explored them thoroughly, and yeah, then we thought, hey, this is pretty cool. Let's do this again. Let's explore more stuff, not necessarily mines, but drains, tunnels, and everything else. So that's pretty much how it got started.
I reckon that's the weekend we came up with the name. We'd sort of done a couple of little things before, but I'm pretty sure that's a night that we officially said, yeah, we're going to do it. And I think we came up with the logo, I reckon. You might remember this better than me. I reckon we came up with the logo at your house in Raleigh Street.
I thought it was at your brother's house when we were into doing cartoons and stuff. We were drawing a cartoon, and I think it was me who thought, oh, kind of need a label for this, or a logo for this vehicle that I'm drawing, Cave Clan vehicle. So I just quickly sketched something on the page and thought, oh yeah, that'll do. And who came up with the name Cave Clan? Because I don't remember who did that. Was it me or you or Woody?
I can't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Who came up with Fear No Darkies?
That was me.
Yeah.
That was another of the cartoon creations.
Yeah. Fear No Darkies. We can't say that anymore. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Big Bad Sloth. Cheers.
No worries.
I remember one time we were way up the mine and we came to a dead end and I put a Cave Clan VHS tape there and I actually leant it up against the wall at the end of the tunnel so you could see it as you were coming up to it. But I thought, this is going to be here for years. Who's going to find this? Even then, VHS was already dying off, so someone would find it and probably have thought it was there for years because it was VHS. Anyway, fast forward. That was on a Sunday. Fast forward to, I think it was Thursday night. We used to go somewhere and play billiards and drink beers and get drunk. And I know Misfit was with me and a couple other guys. And we'd gone down to Parliament Station. We were waiting for the train. And I was definitely with Misfit then because we caught the same train home. And we were putting stickers up because we were drunk. Suddenly we just hear this voice go, "Hey, Cave Clan!" And I was like, oh, here we go, because that sort of happens a bit. But this guy goes, I got a videotape from Diamond Creek Mines. And that my jaw just dropped. I was like, when did you get it? And he goes, Sunday, or maybe we went there Saturday. I'd put this cassette, at the far reaches of this obscure mine, and someone found it within 24 hours. And then 4 days later, we bumped into him. I was like, what? I said, I put that there, like last Saturday. I've got a photo, which I'll put in. And it's like me standing up that hill, and someone's taken it from here. I'm just this little, you can just see my blue shirt. Yeah. I remember years after we stopped doing it, someone emailed us who was building above the mines, and he'd found a way in. He found that he dug into the mines and he was asking Cave Clan to come and help him go through them. I'm not sure why we weren't like really eager, or whether some members were going to go and do it, or whether they even ended up doing it. I can't remember. But you remember a bit about that. Something happened. He ended up in the media.
He ended up in the mine. He fell in, and they had to get him out. I think there was a collapse or something, or he was digging and he actually fell into the shaft and couldn't get out.
There was another guy that used to live on.
I went on a tour, Diamond Creek tour, and we ended up near the mines. And I said I went in there, and one of the guys there said, I live on the hill. And I said, yeah, I saw it. There was this bit of paper saying, beware the dungeon master. And I thought, and he said, oh, that's me. I'm just a resident up there. And I just decided to go on the tour. And I put some wire over there to keep the kids out. But when I went there, it was gone. The paper was there, but the wire was gone.
Because there are apparently a couple of other mines around Diamond Creek.
Yeah, there's a couple further up the hill, but they're caved in and dodgy as. Not even worth going there.
So Basically, the main mine we're talking about that Cave Clan became Cave Clan in. I'm pretty sure when Woody, Sloth and I first did it, I've got a feeling we spent so long checking out all the shafts and that. I've got a feeling that when we first did it, we didn't crawl through. That we did everything else, found the crawl thing, and I think whatever, it was just getting late and we didn't do it. And then we did it on the second and third visits, we got into it more. Do you want to tell the people how much fun it was crawling through?
Yeah, it wasn't that much fun. Look, I'm not exactly a small guy, and I was pushing myself through with my feet and my hands directly in front.
There's the old Cave Clan graffiti, which has gone over now, but I might find a better quality of that. So where's this tunnel up the left go, Prowler?
Dead end.
Dead end. I'll probably do audio over this, but for people that think, oh, I'm going to go do it, this is all you can really do now. This bit, the side pipe, the side tunnel, and where we're going to go now, and it's totally caved in, so let's just, I might follow you up.
And you can feel the rock on top of you. And that's the scariest bit in the whole thing. And it's quite a relief to actually stand up in the shaft.
Oh, shit. Okay, so it's already getting low. So if you keep going up, you're not going to be able to turn around, are you?
No, not once I get past this bit, no.
Yeah, so this is what you had to crawl for like 50 metres through a tunnel like that. And it actually even got lower, didn't it? You used to have to lie on your belly in parts.
Yep, belly.
Yeah.
It's scary as hell just going around that very low bit. And, yeah, it's not good.
So,
it's not good.
I've got a question for you. When you get to the shaft that goes up into the system, I always sort of thought there was a crawl tunnel that continued on.
There was, but by the time I went there, or what I can remember, it was quite small, so I think it would have collapsed.
Okay, so then you climb up this little shaft, which here's a photo of SLoTH. There was a rock that had sort of fallen in front of it. That was early days, a big rock fell on it, and you had to sort of squeeze past it. There's I've used this photo a lot, but this is SLoTH squeezing past that rock. So he's climbed up the shaft. Now you're in another chamber, and what happens in that chamber?
It's, from what I remember, it's on a slant. There are pillars of wood supposedly holding it up, which it doesn't. You only listen for the crack and you're in trouble. They were so rotten you could put your fingers through them. And then it continued on an angle, and I think it kept going, which that part had collapsed, and then there was another bit below your feet you had to slide down into a larger section of the mine.
Because it was on a slant, a lot of rocks and that fell away from the roof, they might only be football sized, and some were a bit bigger. They all eventually, a lot of them would roll down and they'd pile up down the bottom, and that was how we used to get into the section we did, because it sounds like people were doing different parts of it, and that was the way we got in. So when we took expos through there, like probably the 4th, 5th, 6th expos, we would go down and we'd have all these like people who'd never been in there. They're already fucking stressing a bit after the crawl, and then we would just start moving these boulders out of the way, like digging through, and then you eventually get a hole and you climb through. And I think we used to do this. We would put the rocks through and then stack them inside the next section of the mine, because if you put them back up,
They'll come down
come
again.
back down. So we did that. Watch out for the blackberry bushes. And people were like, are you serious? Like, even the original, I remember Gilligan was like, we had to move some rocks, and Gilligan was like, well, we're going in there, sort of thing. We're going where it's caved in. Free. But it wasn't so much that it had caved in, it was just that shit had rolled down, and maybe a little bit of a cave in, but not a proper cave in is what I mean. And then we got into that section. Is that where you used to get in?
I think on the right-hand side there was a pile of rock, and I slid over there on a solo venture, which, don't go solo. And then it opened up into a kind of a classic mine shape for about a minute, and I went, it's got big grade. Then it came out into a kind of small room with lots of rocks, bits of wood sticking out, and I could actually feel air moving towards me at like a walking pace. So there was air coming in from somewhere through those rocks, but you couldn't get through. From memory, it went up. You could climb up into this another cavity, and then you can get down and then go straight ahead.
Yeah, so it's all over the place.
Yeah. And then it got very small where I was a bit reluctant to squeeze through. One of the other boys did, and he said it opened up and kept going. But I was yelling out his name, and he couldn't hear me because the sound doesn't travel.
Yeah. Yeah, like in a drain, your voice will travel like a kilometre. But in a mine, it's absorbed by the walls and that. That story that I was telling about the VHS tape, when I went up that tunnel to the dead end and and there was no reason to go up that tunnel. Like once you knew it was a dead end, you would never go back. If you took future people down there, you'd say, that's just a dead end, a 4-foot dead end tunnel, or 5 foot, or whatever it was. So if you didn't see what I'm about to explain, you never probably would. But for some reason, I have no idea because I'm tall, but when I was going through, there was a hole in the roof it was quite a major section. It probably doubled the size of the mine. And so you'd be in this 5-foot tunnel, you'd be bent over, and in the roof there's a hole, you climb up into it. And then there was this section, like when you talk about the breeze, there was this big shaft and it had all water, not flowing, but it was all wet. And that just had this really nice cool breeze, especially when you'd been crawling through the mine and all that. And so I got a feeling, this is a different section. When I've mentioned it to people that have done it, no one remembers it except for, the people that we did it with in the early days. So I got a feeling it's just this missed section, which is unfortunate. Or people might have found other ways into it. Yeah, that was really cool. And it was that sort of hidden, like in the labyrinth when they're standing in front of the wall and he says, the gap's there, and then the camera angle changes and you can see.
Yep.
It's kind of like that kind of shit. It was pretty cool. And then I stopped going in. I think the last time I went in, I was like, nah, this is getting too dodgy. I think I was with you, wasn't I?
Yeah. I think it was the one with Gilligan, Big Ears, me and you.
Okay.
But all I remember is, coming out of the shaft into the mine with all the wooden supports. I remember it had collapsed. It used to go that way. I'm out of here. And I remember you moved towards the shaft, and for a big boy like you, you went down like a snake down a hole. I remember you dropping down and you were gone. And I never saw you move so fast. I'm out of here. That was it.
Fear does that to me.
Yeah. I've never seen you go so fast.
I do remember just thinking, I just had a bad feeling, I'm pretty sure. And I've never been back since. And your reports of when you did go back, I never had any. Today is the first day I've been back since the time I fell in the blackberry bushes.
Yeah, he went for a roll, and I think Gilligan tried to save him. He went for a roll into the blackberries too.
And then I finally got out, and I was like spider, like I was spread eagled and stuck. And I literally had like probably 50 blackberry prickles in me, and they all went pussy after a couple of days.
Oh, and we actually called them soft cocks for going home. Oh, we're going home, and we're going soft cocks, and we went and did, I think, Tiffany's tomb. But looking back at it now, I think they made the right decision, and we shouldn't have called them soft cocks. And they're covered in blood.
I think, have we covered everything?
Oh, well, the more recent time I went there, which is inaccessible now, I went around the corner because no one had ever done a video shoot of the mine. I'm going to do a video shoot. And I went there and did the crawl, belly crawl through, stood up in the shaft, looked above me. That rock that was stuck vertical in the hole, which SLoTH was squeezing past in the photo, was flat. And all rocks behind it, the wall / roof, you'd call, because it was on an angle, It just collapsed, and I went, fucking hell. I took a couple of photos. I went through that hole like a rabbit down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I was gone, but now it's completely inaccessible. It's not worth. You can go into the first section, right near the entrance, and that's it.
Just for people that are thinking about doing it, after we stopped filming, I went out, was waiting outside, and Prowler, curiosity got the better of him, and he crawled up the shaft, up the low bit, and got to the shaft, and he said it's even worse. It's like literally, if someone was on the other side of it with a spotlight, you wouldn't see a beam of light. It's totally gone now. And if you try digging in out from below, it's going to fall in on top of you. So basically, Diamond Creek Mine is what you saw in the video today. It's not it's just a tiny little mine. It's not really worth doing. For Cave Clan people, it has a bit of a historical, value. So there's some shafts up higher. I've got some photos. I think here's Woody abseiling into one, and there's one of me wearing my embarrassing boxing kangaroo t-shirt or shirt. Is it worth climbing up and having a look at those?
No. I went up there a few years back and it was dodgy, all caved in.
Yeah.
Not even worth the effort of going up that hill.
Yep.
It's all gone.
Cool. Well, the photos will do.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thanks for bringing me out here today, Prowler. Good stuff.
Always good to go in a mine.
Yep. Cool. This is where I'm crossing on a log wearing the America's Cup Australia top, and you can see in the background Cave Clan. Written in this paint, there's an old man, an old troll that lives under the bridge. And then here, which I fixed up the bits that were, so don't get too angry with me, I only fixed up the bits that were gone over. But then you got this Cave Clan, Dougo, Woody, SLoTH, Gilligan, Mosh and Art / Wes. The Mine 3, and then below it was Cave Clan's second visit, but unfortunately it's all been gone over and the date's been gone over totally. So, but yeah, that was interesting, a bit of history. Thanks for spotting that for us, Prowler.
No problem.